Welcome to Rural Concerns, a podcast where I talk about the city and Chris talks about having no mates in the countryside, and James is here to make sure it keeps on track.
Perfect.
And can I just be honest? I think he does a terrible job. have you ever listened to one of these? I am here.
Yeah, I can see half your face as usual, not the eyes. Oh.
Is that better?
No, that's actually worse.
Can you see that?
Yes, there it is. Best Comedy Show Award.
Yeah, I know. So I'll just keep that in shot for the entire...
What's it say?
It says, for being the best, nicest guy.
Who'd you steal that off?
And having a good time.
Is that your third one now or fourth?
Third, 2 with a sausage, 1 on my own.
How many more are you going for?
None.
Right, that's you're crinkling a packet and eating on mic.
Is that?
I'm having chocolate covered raisins. My body is shutting down. I need sugared raisins to survive.
Right. It does sound like that. Are you back home now?
I'm back home. I came home yesterday.
Nice.
I came home yesterday. My mum and dad took me back after the show. But you know, I could feel as we were leaving, Amy did a charity food bank gig. And that was, I did a little bit of that. So that was my last thing. But as I was doing my spot there, I could feel, I don't know, you know, like my body's shutting down as I'm doing it. So I'd got through the show, but my throat started going. And I was just like, it's just the body saying, come on now, we're shutting down.
Yeah, Dr. Showbiz is leaving the building.
Yeah, come on now. We need to get. I said at the time, I was like, we need to get out of this town.
Yeah, you need daily vitamin B12 shots to get through that month.
I'm having little chocolate covered raisins, and I think that'll be good.
Doping then. So basically, doping is what you're advocating.
I've just had some vegetable soup. Do you know when you're like really hungover and you're under? Yeah, Jim. Are you hungover now?
I think I still am. Yeah, I think this is a 2-dayer.
From what?
I went to a wedding on Saturday. It was, I was at a wedding, so I drank a lot of booze. I
find it's the two, you do get 2 days in your 40s, don't you? It's
Prosecco, wine, then lager, then cider.
Rum and Coke, because the lager ran out.
Ah, wow, really?
And these little, they had the look and slight vibe of a Pepto-Bismol, but I think they were tequila. It's like Tequila Rose or something.
Where were the kids?
They were at their grandparents', which is where I am now picking them up.
So you had a day off to sort of be unwell?
No, I had a 3-hour drive to be unwell.
Right. Yeah, cool. That was good, isn't it? I find when you're dangerously over the limit, that's when you do your best driving, because you really focus on it, don't you?
I mean, Sundays in the summer, the motorways are full of pissed up people leaving weddings, aren't they?
Leaving weddings, yeah. Whose wedding was it?
It was some friends from uni. Well, a friend from uni, and she was getting married down near Brighton. It was a festival vibed wedding, so it was all outdoors. And just to sort of date this podcast, the UK was experiencing Storm Lillian at the time, and so it rained quite a lot. But to be fair, it did only rain at the bits when we had to be undercover, like when we were eating in the tent and when the actual ceremony was happening. We were undercover.
I didn't get any storm up here. Is it just down there, was it?
Really? Oh, no, it was quite a lot of rain, quite a lot of stormage. Yeah. But, the bits when we were outside, it wasn't raining and everyone had quite a lovely time, to be honest. Some people camped and we did not. We stayed in a nearby coaching inn.
I watched Naked and Afraid the other day.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's a weird one. That's sort of like camping, isn't it?
Is it? What's the premise?
What is it? Take a step back.
Naked and Afraid is where a group of strangers are dropped in a random location around the world. This one was in Colombia, and they get a pot between 3 of them to boil water in. They also get, I think, a knife each or some sort of tool each.
Oh.
And apart from that, a little satchel and no clothes.
So they're sort of in naked?
No shoes either, completely naked, so they got to blur out.
No pants?
No pants, you got to blur out people bending over.
What? Why would they do that?
Because it's called Naked and Afraid.
Yeah, but it could be called Afraid, but you got your pants on.
Yeah, they got no pants.
Do they make pants? Is that the first thing humans do?
Not a
then?
single one of them made any pants.
Yeah, could they have done?
Yeah.
Almost definitely.
Because think about it, in the first thing they see, they're like, right, we need to get 50 miles to get to the end, to get to the extraction point. This place is crawling with little crocodiles called caiman or something.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's in Colombia. It's called the Colombian Badlands. It's hot. They've got no shoes on. I think the number one thing I'd do is get some shoes on.
Get some shoes.
You've got to fashion
I'd
something.
prioritise shoes over shorts.
Definitely. Your
Yeah.
feet are very soft after years of wearing trainers.
But what you don't want is some sort of like Amazonian beetle or something like that
Getting into
going
your
up your
foot.
willy hole. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well, yes. That little fish swimming up your urine and getting inside your
There are
penis.
so many different types of things that go up your little holes and crevices.
It doesn't seem worthwhile. You know, what's up there?
That's why we need to cut them all down.
Yeah, I said tarmac, the whole thing. Tarmac.
Cut the rainforest down. Tarmac the whole thing.
If you're looking to hitchhike, I think put pants on
There's no roads.
over shoes. Oh, right. Okay. That's the thing I'm thinking of. Like, if they're not interacting with society, so they can go fully feral.
They're interacting with sort of little crocodiles, sort of big cat, medium-sized cats.
Like jaguar.
Yes, something like that. Whatever's in Colombia. Yeah, it's like they always say, like, if you take away devices, people will be more creative and stuff, but it's not the case, is it?
I would say the jaguar isn't a medium-sized cat. I would say there's not really many cats that come much bigger than a jaguar, apart from
Is it a big one, is it?
the jaguar. Yeah, the jaguar's
Yeah.
like
What's a medium-sized one then?
I think like lynx and wolves.
I'd say wolves aren't cats.
Don't make me laugh, James. I know it's a podcast for people's enjoyment, but don't make me laugh. It's hurting my throat. That's what Nicola's planning on doing to me this week.
Naked and afraid.
We're going camping. We're naked and afraid. We're going camping, which is, to be totally honest with you, now that the festival's done, I've done this enough to know. I think I said this before, but I've got an absolutely colossal adrenaline crash coming.
Yes.
All the adrenaline, it's going to be intense. There's going to be tears. So Nicola's making me go camping, and I said, "Can't I take the Nintendo Switch?" She said, "No, I'm not allowed to take it. I'm not allowed to play Super Mario Brothers Wonder."
Because if you went straight home, you'd do something mad like build a mechanical keyboard or something like that.
I'd do something like that, or I'd update my SEO on my website. You know what I mean? I don't need to be doing that this week. I can have a week off just to get the adrenaline going. But it's good to, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We're taking my mother and father-in-law have got like they converted an old Menzies delivery wagon over lockdown. So we're taking that to this, it's called Loch Ken in Scotland, and we're just going to do that. And I said to Nicola, do you know what Marks and Spencer's do? They sell a butter. It's like a French butter with salt crystals in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you can't live day to day on that. But I was like, as a special treat.
Well, why not? The French do. That's like people who say you can't have curry for breakfast.
Look at the mortality rates in French.
It's very low. It's actually low, despite the fact they eat butter and smoke tabs.
No. No French man lives over the age of 52. That's 52 is old to a French. You don't see a Frenchman with, yeah.
You need one of these for your trip to Scotland.
What is it?
It's an electronic bug killer. It's like a tennis racket, but it makes this cracking noise when it hits a bug and stuns them. Because you're going to hit midge season now in Scotland. It's a nightmare.
Mm.
Yeah, and now, we've talked about this before, but I've been chemically marked by the midges, so I'm now like, it's like open season. Once, I never used to get stung by midges, now I get stung by them all the time. Because they've altered my diet and they've put their parasitic chemical markings in me.
You're like a nonce in prison, aren't you?
Yeah, if you wanna boil it down to its most simplest form, I'm just like a nonce in prison. There we go.
Chris, I do appreciate that those chocolate-covered raisins are medicinal, but could you keep them a little away from the mic?
I've been trying to eat them quietly.
Have you had a drink today?
Of what?
Water.
Yeah. I've got one now next to me, chocolate-covered raisins. Nicola's basically feeding me. This is what I was going to say. You know when you're really hungover, as James is, and you drink water, and your body is so in need of water that the water tastes sweet? Do you ever have this? Nicola's just given me some vegetable soup, and it was just like, my body was just like, this is what we want more than anything in the world.
Did she get you some tray bakes as well?
No tray bakes as far as I'm aware. And then we sat down.
I'll text her.
Text her, I don't know. Maybe she's keeping them as a surprise. But we started watching The Sopranos and I was like, that's all I want to do today.
Yeah, great. Lovely little come down.
My son's playing out. We're watching the pilot episode and he come back in when Christopher Moltisanti shot that guy at back end doing cocaine. He came in at exactly that moment and was like, what's this?
You watching it from the beginning?
Nico's never watched it, but I'm like, it's very, very old now. So it's like almost like a period piece, do you know what I mean? But it still stands up.
Yeah, it's brilliant, isn't it? Brilliant show, that.
I never watched it.
Oh,
shush
James.
now. What do you mean?
I think I watched like one episode randomly, and then I looked up like a list of the best episodes, and it's the number one best episode. So it's like, well,
which one? Which episode's the best one?
I think it's is it the Steve Buscemi directed one where they're in the woods? Yeah, I just happened to like flick it on Channel 4 or whatever in the early 2000s.
But you were like, I peaked here, so why would I want to understand who the characters are?
I've seen Goodfellas. I know what's going on.
It's quite a comedic it's quite a lot of surreal humour in it, isn't there, really? Let's go back. I want to go back to we've got Sunil business to discuss, but I want to just come back on to James hitting the town with his old uni friends, reliving his youth. We used to drink loads in the late 1990s, didn't we? So like,
it's no different. I think the booze has got stronger.
No, that's what it is. Poisoned booze.
Well, no, they brought back better sort of lower lagers such as Madry or Coors Light, but you've lost your Carlings.
Well, Madry is Carling, isn't it, or something? That's what the rumour mill says.
It's not. It's a complete made-up brand, yeah.
But I think, yeah, because everything used to be like your 5% and a bit, but even like Stella's not 5% anymore. It's 4 and a bit.
That was export, wasn't it? There was a Heineken export, Carlsberg export, which was higher strength. And there was, what was the really high strength one they made for Winston Churchill?
Was that Tennant Super or something?
Yeah, it was something like that. It was an extra, not Tennant's, but
Special Brew.
Maybe Tennant's. Special Brew, that's it.
I lost a bet and I had to have Carlsberg Special Brew and a Scotch egg for breakfast once.
Was that nice?
No, it was horrible. I was sick.
Not even the Scotch egg?
Yeah, I don't like Scotch eggs.
I can't be doing with this. Something gross about them. But apart from when they're like cooked fresh to order, I think that's that hot one where the yolk is
the outside
moist
actually
and stuff.
crispy? Or is it always that sort of soft? I don't really like that softness.
It shouldn't be that soft. That's service station packaging.
It better be crisp. Do you know what I mean? But James, so where it was in Brighton.
Yeah, it was in the countryside, a bit north of Brighton, yeah.
But you said in the messages that there was an issue about getting home.
Oh, the taxis.
Wedding.
The taxis in the countryside, Chris. We were told it was Uber, it was on Uber. It wasn't. So for the whole week beforehand, we had to ring round I say taxi firm numbers, but what you're actually doing is you're ringing around the individual taxi drivers that live in an area to try and book a taxi. And you have to speak to each and every one. And you get responses like, can I book a taxi for Saturday? Oh, not now, you can't. So it's like, what? So can I tomorrow, or do I need to invent a time machine? What is it? No, then is it simply no?
What are they saying then? Are they saying call on the day or something?
Oh, you were too late because it's booked up in advance or something. Yeah, but it's not clear, is it? You need a binary a yes or no binary answer.
Don't all of you tell me to ring Colin, because Colin's not answering his phone.
Yeah. Will Colin just do anything or something?
We've got a few taxi drivers in the village, like you say, individual taxi drivers. But oh my, they clock off, like working out. They finish at 8 o'clock. Do you know what I mean? So
who were they driving around before then?
In office hours. Who are they driving around during office hours?
I think they take old people to shops. They pick kids up from school and stuff like this, take them home. That happens a lot. And they'll give you a lift. But he's very much at the benefit of at their whim of whether they want to work or not work.
Yes.
Nicola had a thing where a taxi driver picked her up to get in there, and basically when he did the pickup journey, they were taking her and some people she was teaching to a restaurant in the next village or so, and he took her fine. But then he was like, "So, what time do you want to pick up?" But the guy was basically like, "Well, if you're going to be late, I won't be able to come." And she's like, we won't be late. Just tell us when. Well, I won't be able to come if it's late. He just decided he didn't want to do the return trip.
Well, yeah. What do you? Are they encouraging drink driving or something? Are they on the side of big drink drive?
But now when we go out and stuff, I have just very much taken on. I just don't drink if me and Nick go to a pub or for a meal or something, we get a little babysitting window. I will just drive because I can't be bothered navigating whatever that is. Do you know what I mean?
And some of the 0% beers, I'm a big advocate of 0% beers, but I was at a wedding. And also, so we drove to the venue, so we got a taxi back and then thought that getting a taxi mid-morning on a Sunday to go pick up the car.
Oh, James, no, they're all at church.
Well, yes, they are. Colin, R&R, Andy Cab picked us up.
Andy Cap?
Andy Cab. I don't know if that is his actual last name.
Oh, sorry. If I said Andy Cap,
the Daily Mail cartoon from the 80s.
The Daily Mail cartoon who battered his wife, Flo. Yeah.
Like we said where we would go, we obviously booked it, and the second sentence, I think I said, we were at a wedding, that's why we're all a bit ropey. And he went, yeah, I know, it's a shit venue. Like, oh, that's a bad opener, mate. Come on, read the room.
Yeah.
We've all just had a great time at our friends.
What does he mean by shit venue, though?
Because it's like a campsite, it's quite muddy, and he's like, I don't pick up from there. Because also you've got to pick up at the door of it kind of thing. So you've got to get people from where the thing's going on to the taxi in the middle of the night.
What are the economics of being a rural cabbie? Are they just like, is it just pissing out money for them or something?
They named their price. Like, this was a 6-mile journey. It was 25 quid.
Oh, it wasn't metered?
No, it was a 3.5 mile journey, 25 quid.
Yeah, you have to pay, like, there's a thing up here where you have to pay for their outward trip.
Yes.
As well. Do you know what I mean?
That was it, yeah.
They won't, you're not just picking one up when they're already there. So you are chartering them to come from 2 villages away to pick you up. So you pay it as soon as they leave the house, which doesn't feel exactly right, but I think it probably is sort of fair.
I think it's fair as long as they don't also be really grumpy about having to do it. Because I'm giving you a lot of money per mile to do this.
Yeah.
So just nip the attitude. Thanks.
Do you think years of living in London for both of you have ruined your attitude towards people working in the countryside?
I'll tell you what, living in London, one thing, it's made me quite attuned to lazy people. Yeah, I suppose with a taxi, you think that there is like a public service element to it, but it's not that at all. It's like a completely commercial, self-interested thing. But you're like, this is a public service network. But there's no moral obligation past that point to be good at it or want to do it.
Well, the alternative was a 2-hour bus ride on Thursday.
No, thank you.
How many pints could you have before you think your driving would be impaired?
Honestly, I think I won't even. I think the most I've ever had was 1 pint, but that don't feel great. So by and large, if I'm driving, I'm not in a. There's no desire for me to be like, I've got to have 1, got to have 2 or something like that. You're like, no.
The correct answer is
I'd just
0.
rather cut it off.
Yeah.
Cut it off before doing it. James silent there. Yes, absolutely.
Counting fingers
doing
on his hands.
Doing donuts in the wedding venue.
It takes 20 minutes to kick in. So, no, I just unequivocally, absolutely against drink driving. Not even.
You pussies.
Yeah.
Can we just publicly come out and say this now?
Yeah.
This podcast is against drunk driving unless it's absolutely essential. I think that's fair, isn't it? Sunil, what have you been doing?
Something called the Bermondsey Art Trail. Don't know if you've heard of it.
I have not.
Well, it was open house for a lot of artists' studios, so you could wander around where they work.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I went to Frances Stanfield. She had an open studio. Went to see her art. She's an artist who's a good friend of my flatmate, Helen. I commissioned some art off her a couple of years ago, and she's very good. Yeah.
The dog flying the fighter pilot, or was that a different piece of art?
Oh, you're broken up a bit. But yes, you're right. It's the bulldog smoking 2 spliffs on a surfboard.
I thought it was the dog that was flying the F-15 or whatever.
Oh, no, that's not mine. No, I commissioned bulldog on a surfboard smoking 2 spliffs.
Nice. Is it got 2 in the mouth at once? Like
2 in the mouth at once. And then the second commission she refused to accept. An alien smoking 2 spliffs, saying, "Toke me to your leader."
Toke me to 2 of your dealers.
But what did you? It'd be cool if at that artist residence thing, the workshop thing. Can you imagine just slotting a comedian in the middle of that? You know, like their workshop. It's just post-it notes, isn't it? Just post it.
Is that what your workspace looks like? Is it what does your workspace look like? Is it post-it notes?
Post-it notes, lots of post-it notes.
What do they say on them? Jokes?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it's like structural. I'll send a picture. I've got a wall which has got my most recent show on. It's like, it's not what it ended up being, but it was when I was trying to organise the bits into a structure. Do you know what I mean? So that's a very useful process of like Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, where we're going to have all the bits and pieces and stuff like that. And like just getting, there was a bit where I had so much stuff, little ideas and that. So it was like an organisational thing. But I think compared to the other one,
mine's just got dead flies on it.
Yeah. How many? How many are you up to?
Killed 3 last night.
Yeah. Fly. It's the season.
Nah, there's basically the bins haven't been collected.
I remember seeing in a bin bag, you know, when it's hot summer months, do you know, like in a bin bag, a blue bottle fly, a big one underneath the bin bag, you know, like it was like.
I've got some of them around. I've got like the really fat, lazy ones who you can just smack. I've got a lot of them around at the moment.
But I think that means, I think it's like we're getting to the end. I don't understand how it works, but they start getting like sluggish.
No, you thought a wolf was a cat.
I don't know about blue bottle flies too much, but they like, I think we're getting to the end of the season for them. So because you don't see them that much, I think there are always flies around, aren't there? But there's particularly when we used to live up on the hill, we were in the middle of fields. So basically there'd be lots of flies. So we had those strips hanging down.
Do you know what? There's flies, there's a lot about, but I haven't seen a moth for a long time.
I've seen a lot of moths.
Yeah, we're not getting them down here, and something sad's happening to the moth. I don't know what.
I think they're in danger. I think some breeds of moth in the UK are endangered.
Let's bring them back, especially the massive ones that scare the shit out of people.
Especially the massive one that look like Dorito, big Doritos.
Yeah, bring them back. How about one of them smoking a couple of doobs?
So what do we do now? I met more people from the creamery. They'd come to shows, and I'd sort of said, "Do you know what I mean?" Every day, I've plugged this podcast every day, and I've said like at the end of my show, I'll do a little plug for it, and say I've got a podcast, and then 2 or 3 times during the run, someone's gone, "Hey!" So I said, "Yeah, I think we have got room to grow." To be totally honest with you, in a room.
Oh, is that sorry? When you said what are we doing, I thought you meant for this episode. You mean in general in life?
Just in general in life, I'm feeling a bit existential at this point. You know, it's just
because the adrenaline's seeping out your body, isn't it?
But I'm just having a good time doing this podcast. You know, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, but the more you say that, the less it feels like you are. Like you only ever say you're having a good time to reassure people.
Oh, I am having a good time. It's been so much fun.
It sounds more and more like you're about to cry.
I do feel like I'm not going to cry, but I feel like I could cry.
All right, well, I've got more cultural highlights if you want.
Yeah, let's do that. We can't imagine if I cried. Sunil would just never come back on one of these recordings. He wouldn't do it.
I'd watch silently, expressionless, waiting.
Yeah, turn camera off.
Right, had the boys around yesterday to watch Lawrence of Arabia, 3 hours 47.
Oh.
Which boys?
Going from left to right. Nathan Roberts, Will Rowland, Neil O'Rourke, Patrick Spicer. Basically all the boys left in London. Lawrence of Arabia, 3 hours 47. A good 10 minutes of that was a black screen with music playing in the background.
Was that the intermission?
And the beginning.
At the beginning?
Yeah. At the beginning, it's like a minute and a half, if not 2 minutes of just complete black screen, just orchestral music. And then there's an intermission in it. 3 hours 47.
What they used to do with films was mad. But I've been thinking about this recently. There are no good films now, really.
What are you talking about? You love Dune.
Hold on.
I love Dune. I love Deadpool.
Yeah. You've only watched good films recently.
But I remember I watched a show that was basically a retelling of Jurassic Park.
Camp Cretaceous?
No, it was someone did a physical theatre comedy.
What was it called?
Hold On to Your Butts. It was like
nice.
You know, like 2 people and a girl sat at a desk doing Foley.
Yeah.
It was like physical comedy, and it was weird. It's one of those things I put with the boy. I was like, this is something fun to do. But it was sensational. It was so much fun, but it made you think. The writing in Jurassic Park is of a caliber that I don't really think you get in films anymore. There's a lot of interesting acting choices. It's very simple, but very tight throughout. But the characters have so much personality.
Spielberg, though, isn't it?
Spielberg, not messing around.
Do you know what? That guy knows what he's doing.
I'm going to put my head above the parapet and say Steven Spielberg knows what he's
Add
up
him
to.
to that Mount Rushmore portrait of people smoking doobs with King Jong-un. Maybe it's just the fact that there's a lot more films being made now.
I think that's true, but they're all too long. They're all unedited. They're all safe. It's boring.
That horror film was good. Talk to me. That was good.
Yeah,
New
that was
film.
really good, wasn't it? Yeah, but that's like coming out. That's not what I would call some Hollywood creation. This is it's made by these two YouTube guys, isn't it? But it's an Australian thing, and it's interesting because it was Australia. Do you know what I mean? It come from a slightly different background to what we normally watch films in.
But Hollywood blockbuster big films are not as tightly plotted as a Jurassic Park.
I would say so. All the weird nostalgia things. I went to watch Alien Romulus. That was really good. But we are watching a calculated effort to take us back to 1979, whenever Alien and Aliens were. It's purposefully put between those two films, were the most successful of the franchise. And it was really good. It was really good. But I think you could just feel the calculated marketing energy behind stuff. And you're like, please just make good stuff, please.
Yeah. I was reading about this theory that at the turn of the century for a couple of decades, you just regurgitate and remix stuff that came before. And it takes a bit of time for a new culture to emerge after that. A lot of what we've seen is a remix of everything from the 60s onwards, really. Actually, 50s onwards, or rehash put together with other stuff, but stylistic choices and stuff like that they take a bit of time to emerge after you rehash all this stuff. You have to start with something new. And maybe it's up to us as leaders in our communities to come up with a new vibe for the world.
So it's two doobies, right?
It's two doobies.
In one hand.
Is two doobies.
We basically need to come up with whatever is Brat Girl Summer, but for men in their early 40s.
Brat Girl Summer is just there's been different. It's just another name for it's another summer, isn't it? And it's you can't just keep coming up with different names for summer.
You don't know the Brat Girl attitude now. I've got it in my head, do you know?
Doughboy Autumn.
Yeah, Doughboy, yeah.
Sit down September.
Yes.
I think I'm going to do a lot of sitting down.
Doobie October.
What did the boys, the young men that you watched, Silence of Arabia, think?
It's the first time any of us had seen it, I think, except Nathan, who loves films and is a dork. But the rest of us thought it was really, really beautifully shot. It's a beautiful film to watch. A lot of eye makeup, not a single woman in it. I can't remember a single woman in it who was alive. Oh no, there's some nurses right at the end. They don't speak. Very male heavy, very English. Proper theatrical stage acting on the screen.
Yeah, this is it. It's very, you obviously look at things like a lot of the acting not Lawrence of Arabia, but when you watch films of that era, what you've got is the film stars are the theatrical leading lights of the day. And I think they bring the style of to the film. And sometimes it looks with a modern eye, very hammy, big acting. I remember watching, God, what was it? One of these Ray Harryhausen's, Laurence Olivier, it played Zeus.
Yes, Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans, that's it. And it was very, I would say it felt very hammy, but there's a huge stylistic shift in there between then.
But he's the king of the gods.
Yeah, it's hard to play that naturalistically, isn't it?
Yeah, but now what you would get is the performances that you would get are much, the stuff that we watch is much more grounded in realism.
You get Russell Crowe playing Zeus.
Yeah.
Straight as a die.
Yeah.
Underplayed.
Yeah. But he speaks with a little Italian accent in the Marvel ones, doesn't he? And I suppose you still get, whatever Daniel Craig's doing in Knives Out, you're not everyone's going small. I think apparently Ethan Hawke said that Nicolas Cage is one of the only few people doing anything interesting with acting.
Oh, yeah.
He's making interesting choices.
Okay. Final bit of business, Chris. Neither me nor Sunil have had the access or inclination to look at the emails. You've held those keys and you've not shared anything with us. Have we got an email that we could?
I need What I haven't had for the last wee while is time to prep coming into these. We need to get back to this. I need to be coming in.
We've got a review. There's a good review, a long review on Apple that I can read for the end. Was it we haven't done the religious experience one, have we?
What are you talking about, James?
There's a review on Apple that I don't think we've read.
Yeah, let's read that. You can, just a reminder that you can, if you're not too busy, leave a review of this podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And it would be appreciated because we are taking aim at Lily Allen and Makita Oliver.
Are we? Okay, this is a review from Scrappy Lou titled A Religious Experience. And of course, they left 5 stars. And they write, as a wimpy city dweller, I've always half suspected that the countryside is a myth used to scare us into compliance and hard work, for fear that rebellion would lead to being exiled to that hellish place where you can't even get to Liveroo. If I'm right, this podcast is deep state propaganda. If I'm wrong, it is a handy survival guide in case I ever end up on the wrong side of the M25. I now know what to do to pacify a prize bull, how to deal with a misogynistic jester, and I have learnt of an ancient and terrifying ritual called camping. When the oil runs out, the world starts burning, and the remaining few begin to rebuild, this podcast will be used as a sacred text. Farmer Buggerton will be our Lord.
Fucking hell, I hope not.
Now, that's a review. That's a completist's review.
That's how you do it, yeah.
I've been telling people when I've been doing my shows, I say, I got this podcast. I say, I am clinically depressed for the first 12 episodes, so maybe jump in after that. This person's listened to every single one.
And then another one says, I wish Chris was my friend. 5 stars. Thank you.
That's very nice and very funny.
Bit rude, actually. Bit rude to me and James.
Yeah. He does feel, I mean, these two are all right. Yeah, they're good lads. They're good lads.
This has been the latest episode of Rural Concerns, the podcast, with me, Sunil Patel, Chris Cantrell, and James, whose surname cannot be mentioned on this podcast.
Producer James,
who has no surname because he was never born. He came out of a mountain or something. And it was produced by Egg Mountain for A Lovely Time Productions. The artwork is by Poppy Hillstead, who did the artwork, and it's Sam O'Leary who did the music as well. Shout out.
Thank you to Joseph Burrows for the edit.
And thanks, Joe. Cheers.
Now listen to me for once. If you've enjoyed this podcast, we are an independent podcast that's put together with love for three lads having a natter. But you can support us and maintain our costs for the price of less than a pint, and it helps us keep doing this, having a laugh. And I think if you can spend your money so that we can have a laugh, that feels like a good trade-off.
Most importantly, where can they do that?
On the internet.
Don't put a chocolate raisin in your mouth before you give out the most important URL.
They could do it on the internet.
He's back.
You got a baby?
No, that's a cat.
Is it?
Bong. Like that.